You probably still remember that shocking moment from the 94th Academy Awards in 2022, a slap that made Oscar viewership jump by 56%. Yet somehow, neither the press nor the public seemed to care about the nominees or the actual awards that night. Instead, what went viral wasn't the art, the performances, or the celebration of cinema. It was one man, one action, one slap, and the internet caught fire, not in admiration, but with ridicule. The name Will Smith echoed across social media, not for a stunning performance, not for a compelling film, but for becoming the subject of countless memes. That slap didn't just disrupt the ceremony, it derailed his image. But that moment, viral as it was, wasn't the sole reason for his fall from grace. It was just the tipping point. What happened to Will Smith, the man once considered one of Hollywood's most bankable and beloved stars? His journey didn't start with scandal. It began with a charming smile, a quick wit, and an unexpected breakout role in a little sitcom called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That show, launched on NBC, wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural milestone. Airing for 6 seasons, it turned Will into a household name. Reruns kept his youthful charisma alive on screens for years. That success gave Will a taste of something bigger. He knew he wanted more than just laughs, he wanted the big screen, the blockbusters, the global fame. And that's exactly what he chased. His film career took off like a rocket. From playing Captain Stephen Hiller in Independence Day to becoming the cool and quirky Agent J in Men in Black, Will brought charisma and box office magic. For years, he was unstoppable. 8 of his films in a row grossed over $100 million each in the US. That kind of consistency made him a studio favorite and a fan magnet. And yet, even with all that cinematic glory, Will Smith's appeal went beyond acting. His personal life, at least on the surface, looked equally golden. In 1997, he married actress Jada Pinkett. After 2 years of being a public couple, they became one of Hollywood's most admired pairs. Then came their children, Jaden in 1998, Willow in 2000, both of whom were practically born into the spotlight. Both Jaden and Willow dabbled in acting and music from an early age, sometimes co-starring with their father. The family seemed like a modern creative empire, but being in the spotlight also meant their private lives were constantly picked apart. Despite their image as a tight-knit, happy unit, there were cracks and they weren't always easy to hide. Over time, Will's public persona started to shift. He went from being the smooth, confident leading man to someone the media began labeling as impulsive, emotionally volatile. Back in the 2000s, Will was still churning out hit after hit: Men in Black 2, 2002, Bad Boys 2, 2003, I, Robot, 2004, Hitch, 2005, The Pursuit of Happiness, 2006, I Am Legend, 2007, and Hancock, 2008. Together, these films grossed an astonishing $3.3 billion worldwide. Few actors could boast a streak like that. During that golden stretch of his career, Will Smith earned 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Actor, one for his powerhouse portrayal of boxing legend Muhammad Ali in Ali, and the other for his heartfelt role in The Pursuit of Happiness. He was even honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a symbol that his legacy was already written in stone. But Will wasn't content to just conquer the screen. He continued to explore music, his first love. His albums Millennium and Lost and Found soared up the Billboard charts, mixing his signature swagger with reflective, sometimes vulnerable lyrics. He wasn't just a movie star. He was a full-blown entertainer, a rare fusion of actor, rapper, and global icon. With all these accolades, wealth, and influence, it looked like Will Smith was living the dream, the kind of dream every aspiring actor or musician could only imagine. And he wasn't just successful, he was one of the highest-paid stars in Hollywood. And then, he stopped. But not because the offers dried up or because his popularity waned. No, Will Smith made the radical choice to step away from acting right after the 2008 film 7 Pounds. It was a decision few at his level ever make. He walked away at his peak. He admitted later that he had fallen into what he called a material success addiction, chasing external wins to fill internal voids. So instead of his next film, he focused on family. In fact, he began planning an elaborate surprise for Jada's 40th birthday, even though her big day was still 3 years away. He commissioned a documentary about her family roots, curated an extravagant dinner with hand-picked guests, and even arranged for Mary J. Blige to perform a private set, all in the hopes of helping Jada through her looming midlife crisis. To Will, it was the ultimate gesture of love. But things didn't go as planned. After the event, Jada looked at him and simply said, "That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen." In that moment, the illusion cracked. They agreed to separate not legally but emotionally and reassess what their marriage meant. During that fragile period, their daughter Willow wrote a heartfelt letter not to her father, but to Tupac Shakur Jada's former close friend and rumored soulmate. It was a painful reminder of a past Will could never fully compete with. Searching for clarity, Will turned to something far outside the Hollywood norm: ayahuasca, a powerful hallucinogenic brew traditionally used in Amazonian shamanic rituals. He took it 14 times in different spiritual ceremonies. In those altered states, he claimed to confront his fears, his ego, and his deep emotional wounds. Eventually, that inward journey led him back home. In 2012, Will reconciled with Jada and returned to acting, making his comeback with Men in Black 3. It wasn't just a return to screens, it was a test. A sequel in a beloved franchise meant sky-high expectations. The gamble paid off. The film grossed $654 million worldwide on a $215 million budget. But more jaw-dropping was Will's paycheck, a staggering $100 million, the second highest salary ever paid for a single movie role. It seemed like Will Smith was finally back on top. But what came next would be the harshest fall of his career. In 2013, Will Smith took a bold risk. He teamed up with his son, Jaden Smith, in the post-apocalyptic sci-fi film After Earth. On paper, it sounded promising, a father-son duo in a big-budget adventure. But the reality was a disaster. The film was shredded by critics, scoring a painful 12% on Rotten Tomatoes and just 33% on Metacritic. Financially, it bombed hard, with the studio reportedly losing nearly $30 million. The backlash wasn't just aimed at Will, it spread to Jaden too. The public, often ruthless with celebrity kids, turned on the teenage actor. For Will, this was heartbreaking. He had hoped After Earth would launch his son's Hollywood career, but the truth was harsh. Jaden, still young and inexperienced, didn't yet have the star power to carry such a film. The weak script only made matters worse. Then came 2015, and with it, a storm of scandals. Will starred opposite Margot Robbie in Focus, a stylish con artist thriller. But before the film even hit, theaters leaked photo booth pictures of the two looking intimate. Behind the scenes began to circulate. Rumors exploded. Star magazine claimed they were having an affair. Margot denied it, but the whispers only grew louder, especially as their chemistry and interviews seemed more than professional. Meanwhile, Jada was in London attending a music festival to support Jaden and Willow. There, she met August Alsina, a 22-year-old rapper and family friend introduced by Jaden. Despite their 21-year age gap, they connected. August came from a troubled background: addiction, illness, and loss. Jada took him under her wing. As her marriage with Will grew increasingly strained, rumors of divorce began to swirl. Will had to take to Facebook just to deny them. By 2016, Will and Jada quietly separated. No official statement, no drama, but the emotional distance was real. What made things harder was Jada's growing relationship with August. They vacationed together in Hawaii. Whatever it started, as it became more than friendship. For Will, it was salt in an already bleeding wound. Around that same time, tragedy struck. Just as Will was preparing for a new role, he received devastating news: his father was diagnosed with terminal cancer with only weeks to live. Will's relationship with his father had always been complicated. At 19, he witnessed his dad punch his mother so hard she collapsed bleeding. That memory haunted him and filled him with guilt for not protecting her. His father passed away on November 7, 2016. It was one of the darkest chapters in Will's life. And professionally, things weren't much brighter. Big-budget films like Collateral Beauty, Gemini Man, Suicide Squad, and even Aladdin failed to impress. Some made money, yes, but critics panned them as shallow and uninspired. Will still got paid, but his status in Hollywood began to feel shaky. And then the slap. The 94th Academy Awards 2022. Chris Rock joked about Jada's shaved head, a sensitive topic since she suffers from alopecia. The joke compared her to G.I. Jane. At first, Will laughed, but when he saw Jada's face stone cold, everything changed. In a moment that stunned the world, he walked on stage and slapped Chris Rock. Hard. Then came the infamous shout, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." Chris stayed composed, carried on like a pro. Minutes later, Will accepted the Oscar for Best Actor for King Richard. He cried. He tried to explain it all through the lens of love, pain, and family. Behind the scenes, the Los Angeles Police Department was ready to arrest him. But Chris Rock declined to press charges. The next few days were a whirlwind. Will apologized on Instagram. The Academy banned him from attending the Oscars for 10 years. He disappeared from the public eye, then re-emerged with a formal video apology. Still, the damage was done. His follower count plummeted. Studios grew wary. While his name still had weight, the shine had dulled. Will Smith was still standing, but the spotlight he once commanded now cast longer, darker shadows.